I'm 76 years old, and I've been growing vegetables for 54 years. For the first 20 of those years, I planted my fall garden the same way everyone else did, throwing in whatever leftover summer seeds I had and hoping for the best. I lost entire seasons that way. Then one October, I planted my first row of fall carrots, and by December, I was pulling roots so sweet they tasted like candy. That's when I realized I'd been doing it all wrong. Fall isn't the gardening season's end. It's when the real magic happens. Most gardeners treat fall like a consolation prize. They don't. They should be treating it like the championship round. Cool season vegetables don't just tolerate cold weather. They thrive in it. The flavor intensifies. The pests disappear, and the plants actually grow stronger. But you have to know which crops to plant and exactly how to grow them. After 5 decades of trial and error, I've narrowed it down to 10 vegetables that will transform your fall garden from an afterthought into your most productive season. Let me start with number 10, Brussels sprouts. I avoided these for years because I thought they were too difficult. I was wrong. Brussels sprouts are actually one of the easiest fall crops you'll ever grow. But here's what the seed packets won't tell you. They need cold weather to taste good. Plant them in summer heat and you'll get bitter, tough sprouts that nobody wants to eat. Plant them for fall harvest, and those mini cabbages turn sweet and nutty. The plant itself is remarkable. It grows a thick, woody stem that can reach 3 feet tall, and all along that stem, until little Brussels sprouts form in the leaf axils. Each plant can produce 50 to 100 sprouts over the season. I grow mine in both raised beds and 5-gallon containers. They do equally well in both as long as you give them rich soil with plenty of compost. Here's how to grow them right. Start seeds indoors about 12 weeks before your first frost date, or buy transplants. Space them 18 inches apart. They're heavy feeders, so I amend my soil with aged chicken manure and give them a good organic vegetable fertilizer at planting. After that, I feed them with fish emulsion every 2 weeks. The plants need consistent moisture, an inch of water per week. But don't overwater or you'll get disease problems. The biggest mistake I made with Brussels sprouts was harvesting too early. The sprouts need cold weather, even a few light frosts, to develop their best flavor. I now wait until we've had at least 2 frosts before I start picking. You can harvest them 2 ways. Twist off individual sprouts from the bottom up as they mature, or cut the entire stalk and harvest all the sprouts at once. The whole stalk method keeps them fresher longer, which is how grocery stores sell them. Brussels sprouts grown in hot weather will bolt, turn brown, or produce loose, leafy sprouts instead of tight heads. Don't make that mistake. These are strictly cool season plants. One more thing, they're packed with fiber, vitamin K, vitamin C, magnesium, and phosphorus. You're growing a nutritional powerhouse that actually tastes better after frost. Number 9 is beets. I love beets because they're nearly foolproof and they'll grow almost anywhere. Small containers, whiskey barrels, raised beds, even in the pockets of a vertical planter. I've grown them in all these places and gotten excellent results every time. Here's what makes beets special for fall. They handle cold beautifully, and unlike summer-grown beets that can get woody and bitter, fall beets stay tender and sweet. The best part, you get 2 crops from one plant, the greens and the roots. Both are delicious and packed with nutrition. For container growing, I use at least 8-inch deep pots. Beets have a taproot, so depth matters more than width. I sow seeds directly 1/2 inch deep and 1 inch apart, then thin to 3 inches apart once they sprout. Each beet seed is actually a cluster, so you'll get multiple seedlings from each one. Don't throw away those thinnings. They make excellent microgreens. The soil is critical. Beets need loose, well-draining soil with a pH between 6.0 and 7.0. If your soil is too acidic, they'll produce lots of tops and small roots. I always add compost and make sure there are no rocks or hard clumps. These cause the roots to fork or grow misshapen. Water consistently. Irregular watering causes the roots to split. Here's my biggest beet mistake from early on. I added too much nitrogen fertilizer thinking it would give me bigger roots. Wrong. High nitrogen gives you beautiful greens but stunted fibrous roots. Now I use a balanced fertilizer at planting and then just water. That's it. Grow different colored varieties: red, golden, striped Kyoja, or deep purple. The colors come from anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that reduce inflammation and support heart health. Beets are also loaded with fiber, folate, vitamin C, nitrates that lower blood pressure, and minerals that improve athletic performance. I harvest when the roots are 2 to 3 inches in diameter. That's when they're most tender. Number 8 is cabbage. This vegetable is a fall garden champion, but it requires space and patience. I've grown cabbages weighing 12 pounds in my raised beds, massive, tight heads that store for months in a cool basement. Cabbage must be grown in cool weather. Plant it in summer heat, and it won't form a head at all. It'll go straight to flowering. I learned this the hard way with a July planting of Savoy cabbage that produced nothing but leaves and a flower stalk. Total waste. Start cabbage from transplants 8 to 10 weeks before your first frost. Space them 18 to 24 inches apart. They get big. The soil needs to be rich with organic matter. I dig in 3 inches of compost before planting. Cabbage is a heavy feeder like all brassicas, so I use a nitrogen-rich fertilizer every 3 weeks and keep the soil consistently moist. Watch for cabbage worms and slugs. These pests love cabbage. I check the undersides of leaves every few days and pick off any worms I find. Row covers work well for prevention. The plants also need full sun, at least 6 hours daily, or the heads will be loose and small. You can grow multiple cabbages in one large container. I've grown 2 plants in a 24-gallon whiskey barrel and harvested beautiful heads from both. There are many varieties: standard, green, red, Savoy, and conical types. The conical varieties are hard to find in stores, so they're worth growing yourself. Cabbage is low in calories but high in vitamin C and vitamin K. As a cruciferous vegetable, it reduces inflammation and supports gut health with its high fiber content. I harvest when the heads are firm and tight. Don't wait too long or they'll split. Number 7 is cauliflower, my personal favorite. But I'll tell you straight, cauliflower is the most demanding vegetable on this list. It needs rich soil, consistent moisture, cool temperatures, and careful timing. Get any of these wrong, and you'll get buttoning, tiny, unusable heads, or no head at all. I plant cauliflower transplants in late summer, about 10 weeks before the first frost. Spacing is critical, 18 inches apart, minimum. The soil must be loaded with organic matter and have a pH between 6.5 and 7.0. I add a cup of balanced organic fertilizer per plant at planting, then feed with fish emulsion and worm tea every 2 weeks. This is not a crop you can neglect. Water is everything with cauliflower. The soil must stay consistently moist, never dry, never waterlogged. I water deeply twice a week and mulch heavily to maintain moisture. Irregular watering causes the heads to form poorly or develop a grainy texture. Here's what most people don't know. Cauliflower grown in hot weather develops buttoning or malformed heads that look like flowers instead of tight curds. This is why fall is the only time I grow it. The cool nights and mild days produce perfect, tight white heads. I grow 3 plants in a whiskey barrel container and get decent-sized heads. But the largest cauliflowers come from my raised beds, where they have more root space. Don't forget the leaves. They're edible. I drizzle them with olive oil and salt, then roast them until crispy. Delicious. Cauliflower comes in beautiful colors: purple, orange, cheddar, and green varieties. The purple types have anthocyanins that add extra nutrition. All cauliflowers are heart healthy, low in calories, and rich in vitamin C and K. I stir-fry mine with turmeric, chili, and salt. It's incredible with rice. Number 6 is spinach. This is the easiest leafy green you'll ever grow in fall, and homegrown spinach tastes nothing like the bland, hydroponic stuff from grocery stores. Soil-grown spinach has depth of flavor that water-grown leaves can't match. Spinach loves cool weather and will bolt immediately in heat. I direct sow seeds in late summer, scattering them thickly and covering with a 1/4 inch of soil. They germinate in 7 to 10 days. I thin to 4 inches apart once they sprout, and I eat the thinnings. The soil needs abundant organic matter and worm castings. Spinach is a heavy nitrogen feeder, so I add well-rotted chicken manure or cow manure before planting. For containers, I use at least 6 inches of depth. Spinach has shallow roots and grows beautifully in window boxes, whiskey barrels, or the small pockets of vertical planters. I use the cut and come again method. I harvest outer leaves with scissors when they're 4 to 6 inches long, leaving the center to keep growing. The plant keeps producing new leaves for months this way. One planting gives me fresh spinach from October through February. My early mistake was letting the soil dry out. Spinach needs consistent moisture. The surface can be dry, but the root zone must stay moist. I mulch with straw to retain moisture and water whenever the top inch of soil feels dry. Hot weather spinach bolts fast, sending up flower stalks that make the leaves bitter and small. Full-grown spinach stays tender and sweet. It's loaded with vitamins E, K, A, C, folate, iron, magnesium, and antioxidants that support immune function. I make spinach soup with lentils, spices, and shredded coconut. It's fantastic. Number 5 is herbs, specifically cilantro and basil. These are 2 completely different plants, but both thrive in fall under the right conditions. Cilantro is a cool season herb. It hates heat and bolts within weeks if you plant it in summer. I direct sow cilantro seeds in early fall, planting them 1/2 inch deep in full sun. They germinate in 7 to 14 days. I grow cilantro in shallow containers, window boxes, and vertical planters. It has minimal root depth requirements. The key is using slow bolt varieties. Standard cilantro will flower quickly even in cool weather, giving you thin stems and small leaves. Slow bolt types like long-standing produce thick, broad leaves for months. I harvest with scissors, cutting the outer stems and leaving the center to regrow. Full-grown cilantro has thick, fragrant leaves. Summer cilantro is spindly with small leaves because it's rushing to flower. If your cilantro looks weak and droopy, it's a nutrient deficiency. Add compost or any balanced fertilizer to correct it. Basil is technically a warm season herb, but it grows beautifully in early fall before frost. I grow sweet basil for pesto, Thai basil for fried rice, holy basil for tea, and boxwood basil because it's gorgeous. Each variety has distinct flavor and uses. Basil needs rich soil and consistent moisture. I plant transplants in late summer and harvest regularly to prevent flowering. Once frost threatens, I harvest everything and make pesto to freeze. Fresh herbs from your garden have 10 times the fragrance and flavor of store-bought. They're worth every inch of garden space. Number 4 is peas. I underestimated peas for decades, thinking they weren't worth the effort. I was completely wrong. Peas are incredibly productive, easy to grow, and kids love eating them fresh from the vine. I grow both shelling peas and snap peas. Shelling peas are for eating the peas inside. Snap peas are eaten whole, pod and all. Both are cool season crops that grow best in fall. They also fix nitrogen in the soil, so they actually improve your garden while growing. Peas need a trellis. I use tomato cages for container peas and tall fences or arches for raised bed peas. The vines are lightweight and climb easily with their tendrils. I sow seeds 1 inch deep and 2 inches apart, directly where they'll grow. They don't transplant well. The soil should have organic matter but doesn't need heavy fertilizer, since peas fix their own nitrogen. I've grown multiple pea plants in single containers with great success, but raised bed peas along a 6-foot trellis produce enormous harvests. Peas are ready to harvest about 60 to 70 days from planting. For shelling peas, I pick when the pods are plump and full. For snap peas, I harvest when the pods are crisp and the peas inside are just starting to swell. The sweetest peas are young and tender. As they mature, they become starchy and less sweet. My favorite thing about peas is snacking on them in the garden. There's nothing better than eating fresh peas on a cool fall morning. They're rich in protein, vitamin C, vitamin E, zinc, and phytonutrients that protect against cancer and support eye health. At the season's end, I let some pods dry completely, save the seeds, and plant them next year. Number 3 is radishes. These are the fastest growing vegetables in your full garden. Some varieties mature in just 25 days. Radishes come in incredible variety: red, pink, purple, white, watermelon patterned, round, or long. Each type has different flavor and uses. I grow cherry bell radishes for snacking, watermelon radishes for their beauty, and daikon radishes for cooking. The long white daikon varieties can grow 18 inches long and have a pungent, spicy flavor that mellows when cooked. Here's the secret to perfect radishes: don't fertilize them. Radishes grown in heavily fertilized soil produce gorgeous green tops and tiny bitter roots. All they need is loose, well-draining soil with organic matter. I sow seeds 1/2 inch deep and 1 inch apart, then thin to 2 inches apart. They grow in containers, raised beds, or vertical planters with equal success. The deeper the container, the longer the radishes can grow. I've grown daikon radishes in whiskey barrels and pulled roots 16 inches long. In raised beds, they go even deeper. I swear they could drill through concrete if they wanted to. Radishes need consistent moisture. Irregular watering causes them to crack or become pithy. I water every other day and harvest as soon as they reach maturity. Left in the ground too long, they get woody and hot. Fall radishes are milder and sweeter than spring radishes because they mature in cooler temperatures. They're packed with vitamins E, A, C, B, 6, K, fiber, antioxidants, and an impressive list of minerals: zinc, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, copper, calcium, iron, and manganese. I eat them raw, roasted, or pickled. Number 2 is broccoli. This is one of the most productive vegetables you can grow in fall. Unlike cauliflower, which gives you one head and you're done, broccoli keeps producing side shoots for months after you harvest the main head. I start broccoli from transplants in late summer, spacing them 18 inches apart. They're heavy feeders, so I enrich the soil with compost, worm castings, and a balanced vegetable fertilizer at planting. Then I feed monthly with well-rotted chicken manure to boost nitrogen. Broccoli needs full sun and consistent moisture. The plants get large, 3 feet tall and wide, so give them space. I grow them primarily in raised beds, but I've also grown them in large containers and vertical planters with decent results. The main head forms first, usually 60 to 80 days from planting. I harvest it when the buds are tight and dark green, before any yellow flowers appear. Cut the main stem at an angle about 6 inches below the head. This signals the plant to produce side shoots. Those side shoots will keep coming for 2 to 3 months, giving you continuous harvests of smaller florets. My early mistake was growing broccoli in summer. Hot weather broccoli bolts immediately, going straight to flower without forming a proper head. Full-grown broccoli forms tight, dense heads with incredible flavor. I also grow purple sprouting broccoli, which doesn't form a single large head but produces many small purple shoots. The purple color indicates anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants. All broccoli is rich in fiber, vitamin C and K, and compounds that reduce inflammation and support immune health. The productivity of broccoli is unmatched. One plant gives me 1 large head plus dozens of side shoots. No other brassica does that. And number 1 on my list is carrots. After 54 years of gardening, carrots remain my favorite fall crop. They're easy to grow, store beautifully, come in stunning varieties, and taste incredible when grown in cool soil. Carrots come in colors most people have never seen: deep purple, atomic red, pale yellow, even multicolored rainbow carrots. The darker the color, the more intense the flavor, and the higher the antioxidant content. I grow carrots primarily in whiskey barrel containers, 24 inches wide and 15 inches deep. This size accommodates dozens of carrots and provides enough depth for long varieties. I've also grown them successfully in raised beds, but containers give me better control over soil texture. Soil is everything for carrots. They need loose, rock-free, well-draining soil. Any obstruction causes the roots to fork or twist. I fill my containers with a mix of compost, peat moss, and vermiculite, light and fluffy. No clay, no rocks, No hard chunks. I sow seeds directly on the soil surface, barely cover them, then lay straw over the top to keep the soil moist. Carrot seeds are tiny and take 10 to 14 days to germinate. They need consistent moisture during this period. Once sprouted, I thin seedlings to 2 inches apart. Crowded carrots grow stunted. If you find carrot seeds difficult to handle, use pelleted seeds. Each seed is coated in a biodegradable clay pellet that makes it easier to sow. I make holes 1 inch apart. Drop in 1 pelleted seed per hole, cover lightly, and water. Simple. Carrots take 70 to 90 days to mature, depending on variety. I start harvesting when the tops are about ½ inch in diameter. Full-grown carrots are sweeter than spring carrots because the cool soil converts starches to sugars. After a frost, they taste like candy. The biggest carrot mistake I see people make is adding too much nitrogen fertilizer. Carrots are root crops. They don't need nitrogen. High nitrogen produces bushy tops and small, hairy roots. I amend the soil with compost before planting and then don't fertilize at all. I've harvested hundreds of carrots from a single whiskey barrel. They store for weeks in the refrigerator and stay crisp and sweet. Carrots are loaded with beta-carotene, which your body converts to vitamin A for eye health. They're also rich in potassium, fiber, and antioxidants that boost heart and immune health. After 54 years in the garden, I've learned that fall is when smart gardeners shine. Summer gardens are easy. Throw seeds in warm soil and most things grow. Fall separates the amateurs from the experienced. You need to know exactly what to plant, when to plant it, and how to grow it right. These 10 vegetables will transform your fall garden. They'll give you fresh food through winter, save you hundreds of dollars on groceries, and teach you what real flavor tastes like. Don't wait as long as I did to take fall seriously. Start now, plant smart, and let the cool weather do what it does best. Grow the sweetest, most nutritious vegetables you've ever tasted.